Thank you. You really about what bullying is. ZOU. Hey, I didn't expect that today. That was great. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what bullying is, what we can expect, how do we learn to bully, and then most importantly, one thing that I'm going to tell you above what I told you before about disrupting that dynamic. The second thing I'm going to talk to you about is never standing alone. We never stand alone in this process. And so we are conditioned to bully. That's what happens. We learn our behaviors. Behaviors are functional, communicative, and lawful. And so once we're born, we start to learn our behaviors from our families. We start to learn our behaviors from our peer groups, from our schools, from our community, from society. And so those behaviors develop over time and they're reinforced. It's the same with bullying. Bullying is a behavior that becomes reinforced over time. And so, like I said earlier, we got to disrupt that dynamic, disrupt that reinforcement. But the other thing we have to do is understand that we're conditioned to bully. You see it happen in pop culture. You see it happen on the TV. You see it happen in movies. I'm a child. I don't want to talk about how old I am because I think I'm the oldest person that stands on the stage today. But I was a big fan of the Karate Kid. I was a big fan of Friday. I was a big fan of Back to the Future. In all of those situations, kids get bullied. But what happens at the end is the victim always becomes the victor. We've gone so far as a society to develop a game called Bully, the video game. And what we're doing is we're telling kids it's okay and we're glorifying bullying when in fact that's not what happens in reality. And it starts at a very young age. I'm going to tell you what happens in all children's literature. In all children's books that you see and read, here's what happens. Characters are generally introduced. You know, like, I'm Johnny and Steve always bullies me. I'm Steve, I'm the bully. Then what happens is the bullying's introduced. Please, no, don't beat me up. Steve's going to say, I'm going to beat you up, right? Then what happens is one of four things. Either the victim stands up for themselves, peers step in, a teacher steps in, or the victim runs away. And so far, I'm on board. And trust me, I've read almost everything out there on bullying in children's literature. So far, I'm on board, right? And then what happens next is the bullying is resolved. And I like this. It's what should happen. But then what happens next is why we condition kids to bully. It's because at the end, almost every time, the bully and the victim become best friends. Almost every time. And that's not reality. That's not our reality. That's not the reality of our families and our kids. It's not the reality of my daughter who's 6. She came home to me one day and she was bullying some other kid. Yes, my daughter did engage in bullying. I'm well aware of how ridiculous that sounds. But she did. And her teachers told me about it. And then I said to her, look, babe, I don't want you to do that anymore. And she said, okay, tomorrow I'll go play with her. Play with this girl she was bullying. And I said, look, that's not what I'm saying. Because we don't always have to be best friends in the end. What we do have to do is coexist. We don't have the right to make others feel bad about themselves, just like people don't have the right to make you feel bad about yourself. And so the message that I'm sending to you today, in this particular talk, the message that I'm sending to you today is never stand alone. There's always someone you can talk to. Shoot, you can call me if you have to talk to me. But there's always someone you can talk to about experiences that either make you uncomfortable if you see someone getting bullied, or if you're getting bullied yourself, there's someone you should reach out to. Because you should never stand alone in anything that you ever do. Isaac Newton once said, if I've seen further than others, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. So I encourage you to embrace those giants. Make sure that you're never standing alone. Disrupt that bullying dynamic. And please know what to do, know what to say, and who to tell. Thank you.
Give it up for Chad Rose.